Okay, sounds great.
All right, welcome to the webinar, everybody. This is kind of a long time in the making. I wanted our CPAs to do this webinar. I don't know, several months ago. I was like, "Hey, Dustin, it's April. Doesn't that sound like the best time ever to do a webinar on taxes?" And he was like, "I can't even find time to take a shower, Amber."
Dustin looks clean now, though.
That's right, almost. I'm just lazy and I just don't like to shave. So,
hey, that's how.
Otherwise, I did shower this morning, so that was a positive.
Good
accomplishment. Check
Good.
that off. Check that off. I love it. So we're going to go ahead and get going. I'm going to share my screen real quick, but we're health coaches. We're certified health coaches. You're maybe thinking, why are they doing a webinar on taxes? How does that fit in? But it really does if you think about it, because with Optavia and with our coaching program, we really like to focus on what we call the trilogy of optimal health. So healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances. And if you think about it, if your finances are out of whack, and I know that Jared and I have experienced this in the past, if your finances are out of whack, it's really hard to focus on other areas of your life and on improving. And like, I know that when we were struggling financially, it was like, oh, can we afford that gym membership? Or I don't know, hot dogs and ramen's looking pretty good right now, right?
It didn't look good physically. It looked good on the coming out of the bank account, right?
That's right.
So we really do focus on all three of those areas. And so we started working with a different accountant long before we knew about Dustin. And I always felt like there must be more, deductions, or there must be something that we can do. I feel like that we're just handing all of our money to the government. And, and we pay taxes. I want to just be totally upfront on that, just very legal and on the up and up. We definitely send a lot of money into Uncle Sam, quarterly, in fact. But we wanted to know what more that we could do. And so with Optavia, it's really a holistic approach to health. So in each of these three areas, you kind of think about, well, what do I want? And why? And what's the struggle there? Why don't I have it if you don't have health in one of those three areas?
We're going to talk about all three of those areas, body, mind, and finances tonight, but we're going to spend most of our time on finances. And that's why we asked Dustin Insight Tax to come on and share his, because we're not tax professionals. We didn't know what we were doing and stuff. But like Amber said, we're living a life of scarcity, and we were eating a lot of that junky food that was low nutrients because we didn't have the money. But we started to change our life physically. And that led into better mental health. We wanted to share what we that had blessed our life so much. And as we started to share, it completely changed our financial situation in life and also our financial future. So that's when we reached out to actually a common friend that put us in touch with Dustin. And so the last, I think, about 4 years that we've been working with Insight has totally transformed our life.
It's so true. So before I turn it to Dustin, I wanted to launch a poll here, a polling question. So how much of your money do you like to give to the government? So go ahead and vote. And the first choice is as little as legally possible. I like my money. The second choice is all of it. Maybe I'll just find myself a new country. And the third is as much as possible. The government's great at money management. So go ahead and just cast your vote.
Oh man, we must have a government official.
We do have one vote so far for giving as much of their money as possible to the government because of their awesome.
Angela said totally hit the wrong vote.
Oh, that was an accident. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end the polling and share the results with everyone. It looks like about everybody.
It was actually 100% because Angela hit the wrong button.
That's okay. 100% would like to give as little as legally possible. We do want to contribute where we should, but So here is just an intro to Dustin, but we got this off his website. He's a tax strategist, and I love their core values that they have there at Insight Tax. Save our clients more in taxes than what they pay us. And I can tell you up front
Way more.
that happens with us for sure. Give the best service to our clients. I tell you, probably Dustin would kill me for saying this, but I think he was on vacation once and I had a little bit of a tax emergency and he totally hooked me up. He found somebody.
We were actually closing on our new home and they were on a corporate retreat and he was like, hey, anything you guys need, I'll get it over to you and stuff. And probably didn't make his wife very happy there.
And then constant improvement. And, you know, we believe in this with our health coaching program too. It's no one's perfect. We can always find ways to improve. So I love that about these guys. So I'm going to throw it over to Dustin to give us some of your top, you know, I said secret strategies, but they're probably not really secrets. Just not everybody utilizes them. So take it away, Dustin.
Thanks, Jared and Amber. It's great to, thanks for having me on. I really, for all of you that are out there, if you work at all with Jared and Amber, you know how awesome they are. And they're talking about how awesome I am, but it really is great to work with clients who have the same mindset and looking at for the same ultimate end goals as I am within their tax situation. So for just a few minutes, I want to go over a couple of things. One is why owning your own business is good and how to properly structure that. And then two, we're going to talk just for a few minutes about some general tax deductions. So first off, why own a business? What's the benefit out of it? Really, as I look through and in my own personal life, you know, that's trying to think, probably 5 years ago, I was a W-2 employee. There's nothing really horribly wrong with a W-2 employee, but it's definitely not the most tax advantageous. The reason behind that is there are a lot of expenditures that you have personally in your everyday life that ultimately, if you're self-employed, becomes tax deductible. Now that's awesome because it lowers your taxable income. You're paying less taxes. As an example, in my first year being 1099, I earned cash twice as much money as when I was W-2, but I ended up only paying tax on, I actually paid tax on $5,000 less than when I was a W-2 employee based on what deductions become available to you when you are self-employed. So I firmly believe in the awesomeness of being self-employed. I wish everyone could always be self-employed, but it means the IRS loses out on a significant portion of their revenue each year. So that's kind of a real quick as to why you would want to be self-employed because of those deductions that become available. So if you are self-employed or you do have self-employed income, how can you make sure that the government doesn't rake you over the coals on that? So I am not near as tech savvy as Jared and Amber, but I'm going to try to start this slideshow that I have, and we'll see if we can make it work. All right. And Jared and Amber, I'm going to rely on you to tell me if it's working or not. Okay, can we see a blank white screen?
It still says started screen sharing.
Oh, this is too bad. Too bad. I just had great pictures of Amber and her pulling her hair out when she paid too much in taxes, but looks like it's not going to work, which is so. Ultimately, what happens is when you are self-employed, you have 1099 income, you're a contractor or have self-employed earnings, and that money comes directly to you. You're going to end up paying 15.3% self-employment tax. 15 to 25%, that's kind of your middle income average federal income tax. And then depending upon what state you live in, you're going to pay 0 to 10% state income tax. So ultimately, if we're totaling that up on your business net income, so again, that's after expenses, you're going to pay somewhere between 30 and 50% tax. Let me preface my next statement with my top 3 hated people in the world. 1 would be Satan, 2 would be the IRS, and 3 would be mortgage underwriters. And for all I know, they may all be the same person. I'm not entirely sure yet. But They certainly, giving 50% of my revenue to the IRS just makes me irate. And so being self-employed, that's the burden that you end up carrying. So how do we minimize that tax? We minimize it through use of business entities. You'll oftentimes hear people talk about LLCs or incorporated companies or a number of different options that are out there for the majority of operating businesses. So if I'm working in my business day to day and generating revenue, the best tax type for whatever entity that I originally set up is to elect to be taxed as an S corporation. Here's the reason why. When cash goes into an S corporation, technically it's not subject to self-employment tax at all. So the IRS knows this. They just watched 15.3% of their revenue go away, and they're not very happy about it. So one of the major audit triggers of this S corporation is that the directors or the people who run the day-to-day operations of the business have to pay themselves a reasonable W-2. That's a real gray area in the code section as to what's considered reasonable. Well, for us, typically what we're looking at is probably somewhere between 30 and 40% of your net income is what you end up paying out in the W-2. The rest of the income, your other 60 to 70%, you take as owner draws or dividends from your company. Those owner draws are not subject to self-employment tax, only to federal and state income tax. So if you did nothing else other than change from being taxed as a sole proprietor where you're paying 30 to 50% to being treated as an S corporation and changing up the way that you're logistically paying yourself just a little bit, you're going to save somewhere between 7 and 10% of whatever your net income is in a company. So if I have a client that 100,000 of income, 50,000 of expenses, just by having an S corporation, they're going to save somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000 in income tax or in self-employment tax or income tax that they don't then have to pay. So that right in and of itself is frankly enough to make any business that is really generating profit move to an S corporation. The number we're kind of looking at where it logistically makes sense in terms of as at least as much in tax savings as what you pay in additional fees, because there is separate tax filings due with that, is somewhere $10,000 of net income or more. So if you have $10,000 annually of net income, you should have a business and you should set that up. Okay, so that's, again, really quick. I apologize. My slideshow didn't work. It was awesome, but you'll have to just think of it as being awesome. So real quick for just a couple of minutes, deductions. Tax deductions. The IRS code section says anything that you spend that is ordinary and necessary in developing or incurring your revenue is deductible to you. So real quick, things that we for sure want to deduct. Your cell phone cost. When you're self-employed, you got to be able to be reached. That's your cell phone. Also, internet. Guess what? You don't run a business nowadays without the internet. So the internet at your personal residence. Now, if you have a business location that you're operating out of, everything associated with that location is deductible. Then you're going to have things like your auto expenses. There are a couple of different ways that you can take that. Either way, you need to keep a mileage log. You have to be able to track what portion of your miles are business use versus what is personal use. But then from there, it really kind of depends on your exact situation as to which strategy works best in terms of mileage. For health coaches in general, any dollar you're spending on supplements or items that you're using to then offer to your client base or that improve your own personal health and fitness are going to be deductible. The reason why is it's pretty ordinary and necessary that you're going to be fit yourself and be in good health. I'm not going to go to a health coach that's 400 pounds and super overweight and just sits on their couch all day. That does not inspire confidence in me. So I'm not going to that health coach. So that's why these supplements and other items are going to be deductible for you. In addition, your gym membership. Gym membership is going to be deductible as well. Business meals. As long as you're eating out, if you are eating out and you're talking about business or you're trying to generate more revenue through that meal, that's going to be deductible. There is a small caveat in the code section that says when spouses alone eat out together, technically not deductible. But as long as there is a third party involved, it is going to be deductible. So you can be as aggressive as, you know what, it's your anniversary. You're going to go to Ruth's Chris for dinner. Enjoy yourself. And while you're there, guess what? You have a waiter. Talk to your waiter about what you do. Try to get him as a client. Try to have him order product from you or be on your team. That would be enough to qualify that as a business meal because you have a third party involved that you're trying to generate additional revenue from. From there, there's going to be a whole lot of a litany of additional expenses that are probably deductible, but it's going to be dependent upon what you're spending dollars on. So when you're spending dollars, ask yourself the question, is this somehow related to my business or to me generating revenue or improving myself so that I'm better at my business? If the answer is yes, you should be writing it off. If the answer is no, you don't. You pay for it just from your personal account instead of your business account. 2 items that are never tax deductible are going to be your mortgage or your rent payment for your personal living space and your personal groceries. So that's going to be your regular bread, eggs, milk. If I'm shopping at Whole Foods because I am in the health industry, then what we're going to do is we're going to look at taking a percentage of your grocery cost as a deductible item because you are incurring a more expensive cost to live your lifestyle that helps you generate additional revenue. That's a real technical area, so I wouldn't suggest doing that on your own, but definitely whoever your tax advisor is, you should chat with them about that, okay? There's oftentimes I get asked about the home office deduction. A lot of people work out of their home, and the home office deduction is one that is available, but oftentimes isn't done correctly. So I would say watch out for that. There are other strategies that you can implement to get significantly better tax deductions for your home. Typically, the home office deduction is only about $1,500 a year. That's going to equate to maybe $500 in tax savings to you. There's another strategy that we share with our clients called corporate rent. That strategy in and of itself is going to give you a $15,000 a year tax write-off, which means you're probably somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000 a year in tax savings by implementing that one strategy. So there are certainly things out there, and it's really dependent upon everybody's individual situation, what makes sense and what you should be implementing and what things to stay away from. But definitely consult with whoever your tax advisor is. There are deductions available out there for you. We typically we have this corporate rent package. That's one of our favorite tax deductions because it really gives you as an individual a $15,000 raise tax-free. So that's $15,000 to your personal account with a $3,000 to $5,000 tax savings. So it's a pretty sweet strategy that we've been able to dig up out of the code. Again, we share this with our clients, and we'd be happy to meet with any of you and review your tax situation and see ultimately if it makes sense for you to do this. If you're happy with your tax guy or tax girl or whoever's helping you, we do have a package that we put together that you're welcome to buy, and you can implement it yourself. There's some templates in there for ways that we can implement the strategy and make sure that under an audit you have all the paperwork necessary for that audit. So it's something that we've really worked a lot with. So that's real quick. I'll share a link as soon as we're done. For the first 10 people that want to meet and have a free tax planning session where we review your individual situation, we'll actually give you the tax packet or the corporate rent package with all those templates and things for free. So you just receive that, so you just have it, and we'll help you make sure that you implement it correctly. But again, if you're happy with where you're at, I would love for you to keep $3,000 to $5,000 of your money. Don't give it to the IRS. So it'll be available that you could just purchase it as well.
That's awesome.
That's really a quick 10-minute run of things you're going to ultimately be looking for.
Yeah, that's great. And we're going to send out an email to everyone who registered for the webinar tonight. And Dustin can give us that info on how you can be one of the first 10 people to get that free packet. So we're going to send that out. So hopefully you all registered for the webinar because that's an important step. You want those freebies, that's for sure. But thanks, Dustin. Honestly, I just want to back up what he said, that we started saving so much money, and what we pay them to help us with our taxes more than pays for itself, and much more times over.
And Dustin, just to clarify, Jana asked this in the chat about the corporate rent. That is only available, or gym memberships, things like that. That's only available when you have an S Corp, correct?
So I see Janet's post. She said she's a sole proprietor. Can she deduct her gym membership? I would still do that. The difference between your tax preparer and me is probably how aggressive they're willing to be. Again, you're in the health industry. I'm not coming to work with you if you're really out of shape and overweight. So that's where we're saying it's ordinary and necessary. I don't know why your preparer doesn't claim that, but that's ultimately why we look at it and how we treat that. Corporate rent. So the majority, a fair amount of your deductions are going to be available as a sole proprietor, as well as if you're treated as an S corporation. Corporate rent is one of those strategies that does not work if you are a sole proprietor. It works if you're treated as some other taxing type for your business. S corporation, C corporation, partnership. There's a litany of them out there. So let's see. I love it, Janet.
Janet says, my accountant probably isn't as aggressive. She's very unhealthy.
Well, healthy finances, healthy body, healthy mind, right?
Makes you aggressive, apparently.
That's right.
I love it. I love it. So thanks, Dustin, for that awesome info. We're going to just give a little bit more information about what it would mean to start a business with health coaching, because Dustin talked about some of the deductions that you can use, especially as a health coach. And one thing that we love is being able to share health with so many people. And it's great because we have this great company behind us. And our mission is to help America get healthy and then the world. And we have been around for, 15 years?
Yeah, our coaching division's been around 15 years and our company for 37.
Right. And we actually were named from Forbes magazine one of America's most trustworthy companies in the country. And that's what I love, is that the backing that we have through Optavia is so powerful. And some of the things that we offer through both our coaches and our clients are our Habits of Health education, where this is actually taught at Villanova School of Nursing in their obesity prevention course. And I love that we have that education that is really supporting everything that we're teaching. We don't have to just make guesses.
Yeah, and we focus so much on support. There's so much research and evidence out there that shows that people who have a strong support community around them are far more successful. And especially those who themselves pay it forward. Take sobriety programs, for instance. 12-step, the 12th step is to sponsor others and to help others on their path. So part of our support network is both a one-on-one health coach who helps people just kind of awaken, discover what it is that they want and how to get that. And then community that we have full of resources, webinars like this, live events, all kinds of different ways to connect with community, other like-minded people who want the same things that you do as far as their health goes.
And I love this quote from Thomas S. Monson: "We were not placed on this earth to walk alone." And that really supports community feel that when you're doing something together, you're increasing your chances of being successful.
So we also focus on the science of fueling your body. Some of the most powerful research out there is from David Jenkins at the University of Toronto. and his low glycemic eating research. So this study, a massive study where they split people in two groups, and both groups ate exactly the same food, exactly the same calories. And you look at this diagram here. This comes from Dr. A's Habits of Health, our curriculum, and I believe it's chapter 8. This is kind of the typical American diet, right? If you're eating 6 times a day, it's like a donut or orange juice or bagel or something like that. You're just trying to get something in you real quick. And what happens? You have this massive crash afterwards. Or, I mean, all the energy drinks are all the craze now and stuff. And we have so many clients that we've kind of weaned off their energy drinks because they don't need them anymore. Their body's converting energy naturally rather than needing the caffeine. So they split them into groups. One group was eating 3 traditional meals. The other were eating 6 smaller meals. Remember, same calories, same foods. The group that ate 6 times a day, they lost more weight. They indicated that they were less hungry. And then you see the reduced cholesterol and blood insulin levels, 15 and 28%. So that's really significant. And you see this updated diagram here of what your blood sugar and insulin should be like. Really, most people know someone who's diabetic. Well, the truth of the matter when it comes to eating is everybody should eat the way that diabetics should eat. So just maintain that good balanced baseline blood sugar level and getting a good insulin response.
So that's what we really teach our clients with our program is fueling your body, not just eating because you're tired or eating because you're emotional or eating because you're celebrating, but really fueling your body all throughout the day. And we have plans that kind of take out the guesswork, that make it really simple. So we just start with baby steps. You're in charge of 1 meal a day. And this is your lean and green, some lean protein, some veggies, some healthy fats, a really beautiful meal. You can start eating this with your whole family. And then the other 5 times, because you want to eat 6 times a day, like we talked about in that study, we offer fuelings that you can fuel your body. They're already macro balanced. You're not having to count all of your macros and partition everything off in little tiny Tupperwares all day. And I've done this, you guys. There's a reason why they call it Whole 30, is that you can only do it for a whole 30 days and then you feel like you want to jump off a bridge, right? And so we're helping you blood sugar balance, macro balance, nothing artificial. We're making sure you're healing your gut with probiotics. And that's the cool thing about having those grab and go healthy foods.
Yeah, and those different plans, it's just putting more, if you want to call it more traditional foods or your whole foods in different combinations using the fuelings. So for us, we're not losing weight anymore. Amber lost 35 pounds. I lost 50 pounds more than a decade ago for her and nearly a decade ago for me. And we still use those fuelings today just as a part of a healthy lifestyle to maintain our healthy weight. So part of, you look at these pictures here. If you look at the pictures on the left of these individuals and then the right, they become billboards, right? Their own walking billboard. People asked Amber all the time when I was losing my weight. They wouldn't come to me because they thought they might offend me, but they'd go to Amber and say, "Hey, does Jared have cancer or something? He's losing weight really quickly." And she's like, "No, it's actually intentional. And he feels great." And they'd come talk to me and I'm like, "Yeah, I feel fantastic." And what did they want? They wanted the same thing for them. So as you melt away, people notice, and there's an opportunity for you to share that with other people. Perhaps you're already at a healthy weight and you just enjoy helping people. But some of the benefits of coaching are just an improved mindset towards health. There was a study done following our health coaches for 6 years. And it was health coaches were 5 times more likely to reach and maintain a healthy weight than those who weren't, who were just doing a diet or and had no community around them, had no support system.
And you heard from Dustin, there's definitely some tax benefits of having a home-based business, which is amazing. You can provide some extra income for your family and also save money on taxes, but really be part of a mission. Our mission is to help Americans take back their health in healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances. So that's one thing that I love about it. But what could helping people look like? So as a certified health coach, even if you're helping 5 active clients, then that would bring in more than $300 a month, or 15 active clients over $1,200 a month, or 25 clients over $2,300 a month. And Jared and I, when we first started coaching over 8 years ago, we actually reached that 25 active clients point in about 2.5 months from starting. Everyone's different, but we really had that heart of serving and finding the people who are ready to start taking control of their health and their life at that time. So here's our average income ranges. You can get with the person who invited you on this webinar to get an official copy of this as well.
So we talk a lot about organizing our life around what matters most to us. And what does that mean for you? For us, we weren't healthy physically all the time. We, previous to being health coaches 8 years ago, we both worked full-time jobs. Amber worked from home, luckily, so we didn't have to pay for daycare and all those kinds of things. But I rarely saw our kids. I rarely saw Amber. And now we have a lot more flexibility and freedom with our time, but we get to do the things that we love, and we're healthy enough to do those things. We get to travel with our kids because we can be health coaches wherever and whenever and however we want. So it's very transferable. And one of the biggest transformations in us over the last 8 years, I put this quote from Viktor Frankl in the middle. It's one of my favorites, because we've learned how to think differently. We've learned how to create more space in our lives so that we can choose how to respond to some of the events of life, rather than just being in a reactionary mode and always being stressed out and anxious about what life is going to bring at us next.
So where do you go from here? Maybe you are inspired to join our Optavia family, and maybe that is by taking that next step. You see Jody Genesee in this picture. I saw him on the attendees list, so hey Jody. But just taking that next step in your own health. What goals do you have? Maybe you want to talk to a health coach who invited you on this webinar and really learn about what we have to offer and how we can help you. Or maybe you're inspired to become a health coach and reach your hand out in your community and say, come along this journey with me. And although I love what Dustin said about, he probably wouldn't look at a 400-pound, person and say, I want to be your health coach. But it's true that you don't have to be perfect either. That as long as we're all on the road and saying, I'm going towards health, you want to come along with me, that's really what it's all about. So Dustin, any last words?
I agree. I mean, I don't know if hopefully I positioned the camera correctly so you can't see my double chin. I'm definitely not it's true. We're all on a journey someplace. So I really like that. And thanks for sharing that. I guess last thing, I forgot to do this, but I've got team members here with me. Nate's over here. I've got some other people. So we're just, if you need help or you're looking to get financially healthy in your life, let us know. We'd love to see if we would be a good fit for you. So thanks so much again for having us on tonight.
Yeah, we appreciate you. One thing that I learned tonight that I didn't previously know is Satan, the IRS, and mortgage underwriters are the same person.
They may or may not be.
They may or may not be.
Sure. It's still up for debate. I'm not entirely sure. So
the jury's still out.
That's right. And you guys probably know. You remember going through trying to close your house.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it's still fresh.
We appreciate your help with that too.
You're welcome. I was happy to help. So what I'll do is I'll end up getting you a link to the place where anybody can put in your information, and what we'll do is one of our team members will reach out to you to get a time set up for a free tax planning session. again, once it gets up, the first 10 people, we're going to go ahead and we're going to give you that corporate rent package so that you have all the forms and everything else necessary to go ahead and implement that strategy yourself. So thanks so much again for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, guys. We appreciate you.
Okay.